Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, it's morning for me. It may not be morning for you. It may be evening for you, but welcome. Oh my gosh, something's going astray here. Try and settle down bits of hair that have decided to go a certain way. Good morning, my darlings. I hope you are well. My name is Debbie Carberry, and welcome to my weekly YouTube live session. This is a space that I host every single week here on YouTube. If you have a question for me, put a Q at the front of the question and pop that into the chat for me. Whether you're folding laundry, trying to sort out kids and get them organized for the day or organized for the evening, or whether you've had a really tough time and you are struggling, you are very much welcome here and you are in the right space. This space is for you in some of the most difficult times, some of the most devastating times, but hopefully it is also here for you in some of the joyful times when you feel like life is going okay. Nothing is off limits here, nothing. So I welcome you to my table. I ask people just to be respectful. That's about all I ask here. I know that you're busy and I know you are juggling a million things because, of course, you're juggling a million things. You're a woman. But for the next 10 seconds, let's just take a minute for you. Let's just have a little bit of a focus on you and do our regular check-in. I find that using a number between 0 and 10 helps me with most things. I can work out where I'm at, how I'm feeling, how good it is, how bad it is, whatever. So 0 to 10 right now. I'm wondering, where are you at? Where are you feeling at? 0 being, life's a bag of poop, and 10 being it's absolutely gold. So are you somewhere in between? And I'd love you to let me know in the comments. Let me know where you are in the world in the comments. That's always really helpful for me. Please do share this video. You can just hit the share button and it will share it to your socials, which would be really nice and very helpful for me if you want to do that. Look at all my pretty flowers over there. I picked those yesterday. Wrong direction with the finger, Debbie. And again, everything is reversed on the camera. Aren't they pretty? They're queenie limes and pink zinnias. They're so pretty. So I put them there for us to have something pretty to look at. So let me know where you are at. So in the USA, I know the other lady who is here. Good morning, Rachel. How are you going? In the UK, currently at a 5. 5 out of 10 is tipping towards not great. So where am I at today? Gosh, you know what? It's a minute by minute process right now, isn't it? I think the world feels very unpredictable and a bit scary. So yeah, I would say that I can fluctuate within hours each day at the minute because there's so much going on. And of course, for the rest of us, if we're not inside of the USA and we're outside of the USA, then we are concerned about our lovely, beautiful friends who live there. So yes, the news from the US that seems to be a constant barrage is quite challenging. But on top of that, I don't know about the rest of you, but life goes on, right? We also have relationships have ended and adult kids aren't talking to us, or adult kids are talking to us and want more from us, or we're trying to wrangle a family and take care of little people, or we are trying to work on a job or get a job, or maybe we have health issues, maybe we're going through midlife and everything feels so freaking challenging. So if that is you, I get it. Trust me, I do. And tonight I really want to talk about acceptance, courage, and vulnerability, and why surrendering is just such an important thing to do. The word surrender can feel really triggering to many people, especially if, like me, you have had a trauma history. In my life, there has been a lot of trauma. And so the word surrender just feels like, what the fuck? Not a chance. Not a chance. I'm not surrendering to anything. I want to talk about surrender in a very different way. And I want to talk about how we get through these really challenging things, whether they're global issues or they're issues within our community or they're issues in our family or they're issues in our relationship. Because at the end of the day, all of those things really matter. So I've got a mixture of numbers, 7s and 5s. And I hope that by the end of this live Q&A session, you can walk away feeling like your number has improved, even if it's just by 1 or 2. So that'd be really helpful at the end. If you have questions for me, like I said, pop a Q at the front and I will answer your questions. I try and answer as many questions as I possibly can in these lives. If you don't know who I am, my name is Debbie Carberry. I am a university qualified therapist online. I help women who are coming out of long-term relationships navigate the world that they are now in, no matter what that means, whether they're going through menopause, estranged kids, dealing with exes, trying to go through court cases, trying to manage if a partner's had an affair, trying to work out if they should stay or go, trying to work out how they rebuild, trying to navigate a new life if they're building from scratch. So that's what I do for a crust. I have been doing my job for over 2 decades now. I have a lived experience. I also have been separated a number of times, twice actually, and currently I'm partnered and have been for quite some time, which feels nice, but not always. Sometimes it's difficult, as you know. So let's talk about what those words mean. You know, acceptance, courage, vulnerability, and surrender. They're 4 very different, very unique words that I think, and anybody who knows me, and some of you are my members, so you know me very well, and you know that words matter to me. And so words are important. Like I said, if you're watching, just pop where you're from in the comments, just so I know where in the world you are from. You don't have to say much if you don't want to. You can ask a question if you want to. You can also delete questions if you're uncomfortable after you've asked. So please know that you can do that and keep your anonymity. So first of all, I think the most important things about the words that I'm talking about today doesn't mean giving up. It means being where you are instead of burning off a lot of energy to fight where you are, to fight the reality of your situation. You know, when we're in a really good situation, we actually really enjoy being there. It's nice. We want to hang on to it for as long as we can, and we can clench our fists tightly to hold on to a situation that brings us joy and happiness and is something we want to savor. But when something is not pleasant, something is challenging and difficult, and we are struggling with it, we don't want to hold on to it. We want to let go of it and push it away. But in life, what's really important to be able to cope with the process is to be able to open up our hands and let go when we don't want to be able to accept. Acceptance doesn't mean I like it. Acceptance doesn't mean it's okay. Acceptance doesn't mean you are forgiven. Acceptance means when I look at this situation, I see it for what it is. I'm not fighting the reality of the situation. I'm looking at it going, this is shit. I can see it's shit. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's been a really rough start to 2026, like a really challenging start to 2026. And for those of us who are blessed not to be in the middle of the chaos that is the United States, you know, we still have other things going on, and the things that are happening still impact us. Lots of people are really scared, and that fear isn't just about the world, you know, it's about all of the things. You know, I can see women here right now who I know have come out of relationships, who are trying to find jobs, who have just left their partner. Like, those are just a couple of the people I can see sitting here right now. Maybe we have money worries, maybe we have kid worries, and you know what I mean, because life is a sandwich. You know, it doesn't stop the daily things that come up, it just compounds them. So when we have bigger issues in our community, in our country, in the world, that stuff compounds. And now we have so many things to deal with at once. And so it is so important to be able to accept where we are at, so that the energy we have is not spent on fighting something that's going on that we have no control over. We are not fighting with our reality. We go, you know what? This is what's happening. It is. So acceptance isn't approval. It is the capacity to say, I'm not going to fight with my reality. I'm just going to see it for what it is, whether I like it or not, just to be able to look at it and go, it is what it is. And that saves us energy for fighting the things we can change, the things we can have an impact over. So acceptance is a pathway to more peace. It's not about fixing things in your life or being toxically positive. Yay, life's good, wear your crown. It's not that. It's about the reality of things. It's about sitting and going, it is what it is. It's about doing the things that steady us and help us to live inside of what is real in our world, without hardening ourselves up, without shutting down, or without falling apart, you know, without moving into the F's of triggering: flight, fright, freeze, funny, and fawn, you know, without moving to those things and being able to go, I can be in my body in this moment and be okay. Fighting with what is already happening keeps your body locked in a state of high alert. And so what happens when we do that is our body is filled with chemicals to help us get through it. Cortisol, adrenaline. These are really exhausting things. They're good in a hot minute, when you need them. If you need to run, they're good. If you need to fight, they're good. But they're not really good as a day-to-day chemical. They're actually really not good for you. They're going to actually make you exhausted, overwhelmed, and really make life difficult. When we move into acceptance, there is a component that we will grieve, because we will grieve what didn't happen. That's part of acceptance, right? Is we must grieve what we didn't get. We have to let go of the components that we didn't get. And when we're faced with reality, our nervous system can settle enough to help us think more clearly and choose. Choose, because choice is something we have. Even when things are upside down and inside out, we have choice. And it might feel like you don't. And if you don't feel like you have choice, you come and tell me, Debbie, it's okay for you to say, but. I'm willing to sit and hear you. I'm willing to give you a different perspective. I'm willing to suggest things that can help you feel like there's choice for you if you don't feel like there is a choice. So this is a space for that. So if you want to tell me, no, that's not the way it is for me, or no, I can't work myself to that space, or no, I don't know how to do it, that is my space, right? That is where I witness your experience, and my job is to help you get through that. So when we face what's real, our nervous system can slow down enough to start to think about things and to look at how we choose what we do. The world feels so unstable right now. And that isn't your imagination, you know what I mean? And it's not just one country. We are all interconnected in this planet we live on. There is nothing that is not connected to everything that's going on. It's about proximity. How close am I to that? Am I in the country? Am I in the state things are happening in? Am I in a different country? Am I in a country that is close to this in quite a long way away? I'm in Australia. I'm a long way away from lots of things. I quite like that. Australia is a nice country. I really do enjoy it. So, when the world doesn't feel safe, we have to feel safe inside of ourselves. We have to bring the steadiness. We have to bring the groundedness. A big tree has roots that go so deep into the earth so that tree doesn't get toppled over when there's a cyclone or tsunami, or when there is inclement weather and it's difficult. That tree, if you're in Australia, has to go through bushfires and through heavy rains and through big strong winds. We have currently in Australia bushfires and cyclones. But trees put roots deeply in the ground. And for us human beings, that root system is called self-love, self-care, self-acceptance. That is what our root system is made up of. It is about the spaces where we steady ourselves to what is coming at us, because life is going to throw stuff at you. That's a fact. And what we need is a way of steadying ourselves like trees. How do I bring to my life things that steady me? How do I regulate my nervous system? How do I think clearly? How do I come back to the present moment? How do I move back to being inside of my body when the world feels chaotic and crazy, when I have to deal with multiple things going on at once? It's not easy, but it is something you can learn to do. And I can teach you if you like. And there's lots on my channel. If you want to go looking at my channel, there are playlists. There are short videos for those who have the attention span of a gnat. It's not me, but I know Miss Carol really loves the short ones. I like the longer versions of things where I can give you tips to help you. But look on my channel. If you can't find stuff, then ask me to do it, or ask me to help guide you. I'm happy to do that. I do a your question, my take. If you have a question like, can you do your question, my take on this? I will do my best. I also ask you in return to please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on my channel, because that helps me reach more women like you who are struggling right now. And I have women around the world that I'm working with. Of course, some of you are here right now, which is so nice to have you with me. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can answer me in the comments if you want, and then I'm going to take your questions. What are you struggling with right now? Like one thing that you are struggling with right now, maybe one thing that's over 6 out of 10. Let me know in the comments, what's something that you are struggling with right now? Let me know in the comments. The next thing I'm going to ask you is, what is one thing you could do to help you move to acceptance of that? You know, sometimes it's just a phrase, which might be something like, my partner's left and I'm really sad. It might be, my child is not talking to me and I am really frightened that I've lost them forever. Those statements are built around acceptance of where you are at today. So sometimes a statement can be so powerful. And finally, what are you armoring up? Where are you armoring up in your life? You know, standing in this position, instead of this position, opening up your hands and saying, you know, what am I open to happening? What am I making space for in this moment? In this moment, not in an hour or 2 or 5 or 10, not yesterday or last week or last month, not next week or next month or next year, but in this exact second in my life, what am I open to? What can I open up to instead of being armored up for? There's a lot of energy that it will be used from your body to stay in a fighting pose. And what I'd suggest to you is we can be in a space of choice and choosing what we want to do and still be open-handed. In fact, I really suggest that you do that, because when we are always in a fight-flight state, then that is not good for us at all. So those are my questions for you today. Let me know in the comments. I would love to know where you're at. If you're watching this on replay, I read all of the comments, so I'll come along and have a look at the comments later. I'm going to read what's going on in the chat. So hello, my darlings. I hope you are well. Nice to have you with me today. So let's have a look. Question number 1. I have 2 in-person job interviews this Friday. Any ideas for me when it comes to trying to keep calm and hide my social anxiety when in the interview? I would suggest a couple of things. Number 1, don't hide it. That's okay, you know, we're all different. And if you get social anxiety, what I strongly recommend you do is say in the interview, gosh, I feel a bit anxious right now. Do you know what? They know you're anxious. You're not the only anxious person. I think it's 1 in 5 or 1 in 3 people have anxiety. So, darling, just say it in the interview. Gosh, I'm feeling a little anxious. That's perfectly okay to say and really helps people. What I'd also say is breathe. Breath is your friend. Breath is your friend. A big breath in, you know, hold your breath and out. And as I know, you know me, a 4-7-8 breath is so helpful. That actually reduces that feeling of panic and anxiety. So in for 4, hold for 7, and that really long breath out for 8. And keep your tongue just above your front teeth. That 4-7-8 breath 4 times really steadies you. You know, in the interview, you can pause before you speak and just do a couple of breaths. You can remind yourself, these people want me to succeed. These people want me to be, you know, comfortable. These people really know. They've interviewed lots of people today, or they've interviewed lots of people this week. Some of the people interviewing you may have anxiety. You know, it's okay to be anxious. They don't expect you to go in not feeling anxious. You are in a foreign environment. And if they are really just regular folks, they get it. So that's what I'd suggest for you, darling. And good luck. Let me know how you go. I don't know what that one's about. So even a black and white one, I'm not sure what that one was about, but okay. Let me see something I've said that I've missed, obviously. Next question. Hello, gorgeous. How do you begin to open up to others when you have a severe trauma history? The fear is overwhelming at times. I listen to cortisol lowering meditations to help. Gorgeous question. So trauma is sticky like glue. And I know you and you know me and you know I have a trauma history. So trauma is sticky like glue. Oh, I see. I'll come back to that in a second. And so trauma sticks to us. When we are traumatized, one of the most important things to remember is we know we have sticky stuff. So being able to remind yourself, oh, this is my experience of trauma that is making this sticky. What I do, Rachel, when I know that my lived experience of trauma is sticking to me while I'm trying to engage with somebody I care about, is I say to that person, this is the story I am making up. This is the story I'm making up. So, and for me, that helps me to understand that my interpretation of the situation currently is being foreshadowed by the trauma I've experienced. And what I hope then is the person on the receiving end doesn't feel blamed for things, that the person on the receiving end, my glasses are wonky, that's better. The person on the receiving end understands that right now, my experience of what is happening is not something they have done, it is something that I'm experiencing. Doing trauma work is a long, long process. You know, I'm 60 years old, as many of you know, feeling like my hair's a mess today. I'm 60 years old, and you know, my traumatic history still impacts me. Sometimes that really gives me the shits because I think, why is trauma the thing that just keeps coming, just keeps coming? I've done so much personal work. And this year of my 60th, you know, decade on this earthly plane, my 60th year, not decade, my 60th year on this earthly plane, in my sixth decade, I'm being forgiving to myself about that. And I'm reminding myself that, you know what, I've done a lot of work. And I continue to work on myself every single day. And it's okay for me to experience still triggers from my trauma. It's okay for me to have those experiences. And it's also okay for me to continue to work on it. It's okay. And I am gentle with myself and kind to myself and compassionate to myself about that. I remind myself that, you know what, this is a long-term thing. And I would be gentle and kind to somebody else who is experiencing this. And so why wouldn't I be gentle and kind with myself? What I recommend to you, lovely, is you need to work on self-regulation. And it's shit. Why should you have to? Well, because you do, because you have the trauma history. And so you have to excuse me. It's my youngest boy's birthday today. He's 25, and I can't ignore that. And because I love him with my whole heart, and because we never thought he'd get to 25, and so I'm just wrangling a few things, letting him know I'll be there really soon to talk to him. Sorry. So, my darling, when fear is overwhelming, remember the acronym of fear: false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. It is the experience of, I don't feel safe in my own skin right now. I don't feel safe. And so, how do I help my body feel safer than it currently does? What am I going to do to help myself feel safer than I currently do? Breathing is your friend. Doing it over and over and over again, even though it gives you the shits that you have to. And learning how to lower your cortisol, learning how to lower your fight, flight, freeze responses. And that just takes a lot of time. And it still gets me sometimes, Rachel. Sometimes still I can get caught out by it. But I accept it today. I go, you know what? This is part and parcel of having quite an intrusive, difficult childhood. And darling, here's the other thing. You keep showing up, and I know you do because I've known you a long time. You keep showing up. That is also what you need to do. It is shit, and I deal with panic every day, yes. And, you know, when we're dealing with panic every day, we probably need to talk to our doctor. We probably need to have a chat with the GP and really see what else is available. Maybe you need some one-on-one sessions. Maybe you need to go to a group where you actually do group work around managing it. I know for sure being around people who understand the way we are experiencing life can be so incredibly helpful, and we don't feel like we're alone anymore, which is also part of this experience, that we can tell ourselves a story that it's just us. And it's not just you, love. There are plenty of other people who have anxiety and panic, lots and lots and lots. So I want you to know that you're not alone, even if it feels that way. You're gorgeous. And Carol, you're talking about my black and white videos. I'm testing them. I'm testing them to see if they work or not, because you know me, I'm not very tech savvy. I'm a therapist. I'm not very tech savvy, but I'm just playing with things to see what happens with them. I'm just trying different things. So yeah, if you like my stuff, give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to love heart. Also, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell, because all those things help my channel. And share my stuff with people. That is something that really helps me out a lot. All right, racing thoughts, exhaustion, and oftentimes on the verge of physical collapse. Yeah, flooded. So those Fs, fight, flight, freeze, funny, fawn. Um, those are signs to us that, hey, I need to stop what I'm doing and slow right down. My mind is telling me right now, it feels like I am in mortal danger. How am I going to come back to myself? Being in the present moment is really important. Coming back in, feet on the ground, breathing, feeling your body where you are. Where am I standing? Where am I sitting? What can I hear? What can I see? What can I taste? What can I touch? What can I smell? Coming back into your body. Oh, yeah, I'm safe. I'm sitting in my office right now, holding a cup of coffee. I can smell the coffee. I can see the light from my computer to help me make sure that the light is on in my office well enough so you lot can see me. I come back into my own skin, and that helps. And we need to do it over and 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 over. And that sucks. But it is what we need to do to reprogram our brains. Your brain is a piece of software and it gathers data. And the more affirming data it gets, the more it moves towards that thing. We have to give it new information and pull it back to new pathways and go, actually, no, you're going in the old pathway that we've always done. I'm pulling you back to a new one. This isn't how we do it anymore. And that's really important. All right, Pokey, my love. Hi, Debbie. Hello, darling. My boyfriend of nearly 2 years discarded me for a second time on New Year's Eve. I'm hurting, but learning to accept. I'm open to letting go and healing. It's very hard. Can I just say a couple of things? Number one, Pokey, please, honey, change the wording. He didn't discard you. You are not something to be discarded. So changing the words to, my boyfriend decided he no longer wanted to be in the relationship. That has nothing to do with you. It's not about your worth or you being good enough or worthy enough or lovable enough. It is about him making a choice that he no longer wanted to be in the relationship. And if it's the second time, my suggestion to you is make this the last time, because those repeated experiences can be very painful. If people come and go and come and go, that can leave us in a state of worry a lot of the time. Are they going to stay? Are they going to go? But allowing ourselves to go, okay, that didn't feel very good to me. I don't like this situation. This person clearly doesn't know what they want. And so I am making a choice to let go of that now and start to move forward. But be careful of your language. He didn't discard you, my love. He chose to leave the relationship. Words matter. Words really, really matter. And so it's really important. You were not discarded. He chose to leave the relationship. You are whole. You are exactly as you should be. You are perfect as you are. You are good enough. You are worthy enough. You are lovable enough. And he has chosen something else. That doesn't change your worth. That doesn't change your value. That doesn't actually mean anything more than he has chosen to leave the relationship. That's it. So just be careful with that, because language really can impact the way we see our world and the way we experience things. So language is really important. All right, any more questions, pop them into the comments for me. Just a reminder, I now do my lives at 2 different times. This is to try and meet my American Canadian friends at one time zone, and that I meet my beautiful UK and that side of the continent people at this time. So this is for my people who are on the other side of the globe, those in the UK and Europe. Some Canadians come on at this time too. And then on Mondays I do, so for some people it will be a Sunday, but it is a Monday for me. For some of you it will be today's Thursday, Wednesday for you. So I will be doing my next live next week on Monday at 11 a.m. my time. I always put those up a couple of days ahead so that you are notified well in advance so that you know the time for those. I encourage you to come to them if you'd like to ask me a question. If you have a question for me after the live, you can pop it in the comments. I try and read everything. Some of those questions I can take and turn them into your question might take. Some of those questions I will answer directly with you in the comments. So please, if you have a question that you'd like to ask, I'm more than happy to talk to you. You messed up the time, Judy. Don't worry about it, love. That's why I'm suggesting that you hit the the little bell, because the bell will actually tell you when I'm coming in your time zone, I believe, and you can let me know if that isn't accurate. But my belief is that when you hit the bell, it will say what time that is in your time zone, and then it will tell you when I've started to be live. So if you hit the bell, it will notify you, usually by email, I think, that that I'm going live. It might have gone to your emails, Judy. Nice to see you, darling. It's good to see you. So if you have a question for me, let me know. This week for me has been a bit of a roller coaster ride with what is going on in the US. I know that it's tricky. You know, it's tricky when you're not in a country and you have an opinion about things. My job is to witness human beings in their suffering. That is what I do for a living. And people don't come to me when they're having a good time. Trust me, they come to me when they're struggling and they're having a very hard time. So I'm very used to observing people suffering. But I am finding it difficult to observe the suffering of my friends in the United States. I am deeply, deeply, deeply troubled for them. I am learning that I need to really limit how much I watch, but I also need to observe, because that is a really important part of being a good citizen, in my opinion. And everybody agrees, and you can disagree with me, I don't mind. But for me, that is a value that I have, and I try and show up for the people who come into my stratosphere. Some of my beautiful American members are here right now, and I know they are struggling. And so I ask everybody, wherever you are in the world, to take a moment to send energy to those beautiful people. You know, if you pray for them. If you are spiritual, you know, energetically reach out in your mind and send love and kindness to them. If you are none of those things, that's okay too. You know, we're all different, and yet we're all exactly the bloody same. So just take a minute to think and feel for those people who are suffering, and hoping that soon this nightmare will come to an end for them, because my goodness, it is too much to bear. And for the beautiful woman who lost her life, I'm breathless about it. It is too much. I'm on my phone recently. There is a song, I've never heard it before, but it must be from the series called The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't watch that. I don't tend to watch things that distress me. I don't know if you watched it, but I see videos of women in red cloaks. I think it's from something called The Handmaid's Tale, and a song that is being chanted in that. And that song is haunting, and yet it seems so incredibly apt. I am a loud, outspoken woman. I lean in with my values. You know, people tell me that I need to settle down, and I need to calm down, and I need to be less than I currently am. And I say fuck you to that. I am a 60-year-old woman who has had to go through some very challenging things, and I fight for what I believe is right and important. And so I speak up. And I think we all have to speak up. Whether our voices are shaking and our knees are knocking or not, we need to speak up. Sophie, my love, how can I deal with this saturation? My son doesn't want to talk to me. I was unhappy in my marriage and have been through arguments when he was growing up, angry towards me. Sophie, you bring up a really important thing here. And this is something I am going to be talking about on my channel. I've actually recorded some videos about it already. As mums, our identity is woven to being the mother of a child, and so we want to be good mums, right? We want to be good mums. I have 4 kids, Sophie. 2 of my kids aren't talking to me right now. One of my kids is having a birthday today, and you know, it's painful when we have raised a baby and we love them with our whole heart, and we want to be in their lives because we care about them deeply, and they say, I don't want to talk to you. Maybe they're cross with us, maybe they disagree with us on something, maybe they are feeding into what I believe is an epidemic right now of estrangement, where we now believe that disagreement means that people are narcissists. This disagreement means that somebody is wrong and somebody is right. I don't lead with that. I think repair is king. Repair is the thing we do to try to mend, because we're all just humans doing our best, and we all fuck up. We all do things that we regret. We all make mistakes. And so repair is at the heart of how do we move forward with that? How do we deal with the stuff that comes up? Is that we try to repair it. I make mistakes, you make mistakes. If your child doesn't want to talk to you, I strongly urge you to try to get peaceful with it. What does that mean? It means we don't weave ourselves into, I am only a good enough woman if my child talks to me. I'm only good enough if I have a relationship with my child. I'm only worthy if my child approves of me. I'm only worthy if I have an ongoing relationship with them. You know, and I've told my members this, I bought a t-shirt for myself last year with Let Them on it. Why? Because most of us have heard of Let Them. If you haven't heard of Let Them, and there's a number of people online who talk about it. But basically Let Them is not holding on, it's acceptance to what is. So if somebody chooses not to have us in their lives, we let them. We say, okay, you don't want to be in my life. We don't then internally tell ourselves it's because I'm not good enough, not worthy enough, not lovable enough, because I made a mistake. We don't sit with ourselves and say, what if I never see them again, or they never talk to me again? We just go, okay, this is your choice. That's okay. In my own case, Sophie, what I have done is I will communicate with my eldest son when I feel that that is appropriate. It's his brother's birthday. His brother will be 25 today, and his brother has a life-threatening illness. And so I invited my eldest son to the celebration on Saturday. I sent him an email and just said, we're having a get together if you'd like to come. Now, I didn't expect him to respond to me. I didn't expect him to come, but that isn't my job. My job as the mother is to say, do you want to come? Now, he hasn't responded. I'm not surprised. I didn't start telling myself he doesn't love me, doesn't care about me. I just went, okay, well, I'm not surprised, but that's not what I did. I just went and invited him. It's a process. It isn't something you just land at. It is something that, for me at least, there was a lot of grief around this. There was a lot of sadness around this. I felt extraordinary levels of abandonment from my children, which, I teach about abandonment every day. And I had to check in with myself, and it was an attachment rupture. It felt like the worst wound because it was about an abandonment of my adult children, which was it was breathtaking and so challenging. But I am now peaceful with this, and it takes time. Sophie, I will be doing, and I've actually recorded some videos already around my estrangement series. So I do have an estrangement series coming up, talking about how to deal with estrangement, what it's about, why we blame mothers. And ladies, you will notice that there is no adult child who says they won't speak to their father. And this is not, I'm not making it up. When we talk about estrangement, we are talking about estrangement of the mother. And I think in our culture, we expect mums to be perfect in every way, shape, and form, to not have any history of their own, to not have any problems of their own, to not make mistakes. And here's the thing, we do. We are just women who happen to have children. We're just women who, some of us have a trauma history. Some of us were not taught how to do certain things. Some of us make mistakes. And so, we are going to stuff it up sometimes. And our job in life is not to then cut somebody off. It's to learn to emotionally regulate ourselves enough to be able to say, how do we move through this together? How do we work this out? How do we forgive? How do we move forward? Not to set a boundary up, because when we set boundaries up that go, the boundary is I won't talk to you ever again, then I never have to deal with it. I will never emotionally grow enough to actually be able to go, okay, forgiveness is a part of my life, because I too am flawed. And so people who are not emotionally mature enough, who live in a culture that feeds into the story that, hey, anybody who disagrees with you, especially your mother, anybody who says something you don't like, especially your mother, anybody who offers an opinion, especially your mother, then she must be bad. And therefore, the best thing to do is just stop talking to her. I don't know if those children really fully understand that they will one day be parents too, quite likely. And let's hope their children don't do the same thing to them. Probably they will, because they are being modeled that behavior by their own parents. So getting peaceful with estrangement is vital, because it's going to make you really distressed if you don't. So I would encourage you to just lean in, and I am going to do a series around estrangement, and it is coming up. I've already started recording it. If anybody is ever wanting to work with me, I'll put the link in the description of some of my videos for my calendar. You can book a session with me. Of course, you can come here and talk to me. I have a membership program, and if people want to know about that, they're more than welcome to talk to me. And I will be releasing more things on YouTube. I also have a store here on YouTube just at the top of the page that has inexpensive resources that you can download that will really help you with logical, practical, simple strategies to get through difficult moments. So if you're looking for anything, do let me know. All right. You love The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't watch it, to be honest with you, Carol, because it looked scary. But yes, and I've heard it. There's a beautiful singer. I don't know her name, but I heard her. She was chanting something about women and picket fences and women working too many hours and things. That was an amazing song too. I've never heard that song before. There is only so many times you can try and repair things before you just have to move on. And Judy, for me, I try to repair, and then what I do is I step back, and if my son came to me tomorrow and said, "Mum, can we talk?" I'd say yes, as long as he was coming at it from a place of wanting to repair rather than to just relitigate what he feels is the truth. So I would open my arms and welcome him in and talk to him, but I'm not going to put myself out there to be gosh, and it's challenging to even say the words, but to be chastised and treated badly and blamed, and you know what I mean. But I'm very open to a relationship, but I'm not open to it on those terms. I'm just not. Is there an estrangement where the parent chooses to not communicate with their children? Yeah, there absolutely is. And my mother did that with me. So it's quite intriguing, isn't it, that my mother did that with me, but I am not doing it with my children. That's a choice I made. My mother was very angry with me. I had a very traumatic history and was removed from my mother's care on multiple occasions. It was a very, very traumatic childhood. But like most children who don't have parents, I ached for my mother. I ached for her. I ached deeply for her, and would throughout my life try to reconnect with her. And she would repeatedly, over and over again, basically tell me she didn't even know I existed. I don't know who you are. Who is this? I don't know you, which was devastating at the time. And I never did get to a point of peacefulness with my mum before she died. And for me, I had to get peaceful after she died and remind myself again that my mother didn't have the capacity to love me because she didn't love herself, and she hadn't experienced the love of her own mother or father. She was an extraordinarily traumatized woman, more traumatized than me. And so I have compassion for her as an adult. I just think, gosh, she had a tough time. She really, really did. And she couldn't give away what she didn't have. And she did not have the capacity to love me. And so I am very gentle with myself about that. And I remind myself, because initially it was like, how can they not love me when I am such a loving person, and my mother didn't love me and she was such a terrible person? Because we're only 5 years old when we have those conversations with ourselves. And I remember that it's okay, it's okay that my mum couldn't love me, and it's okay that sometimes my children don't know how to love me, and that's okay. That doesn't change my lovability. That doesn't change my value or my worth or anything else. It doesn't change that. I am still lovable regardless. I am still worthy regardless. I have value no matter what. And I think that is the bit that women struggle with the most, that we oftentimes will place our worth in somebody else's hands, and that's dangerous. I guess that's really, really dangerous. Let me see. I guess that is why I connect with you so easily. Yeah, maybe. I think sometimes, the women that come to me, it's funny, yesterday I was having a conversation around work on YouTube and how challenging it is, to be honest with you. It's very challenging over here on YouTube. And the conversation was really around, why do you do it? And my response was, because there are women who need it. And if I'm your person, if you like me, if I'm your flavor, which is what I used to say, if I'm your flavor, you will love my work. And if I'm not your flavor, it doesn't matter what I do, I will not be your flavor. So it's like going to a big ice cream store, and you've got all the flavors in the world. If you are a chocolate chip kind of gal, or if you are that bubblegum blue and yellow red stuff, then you're not going to be me, because I'm a mint choc chip kind of gal, and I'm a vanilla bean, a French vanilla bean, if you like, sometimes. And sometimes, I'm a sorbet, a lemon or a mango sorbet, but that's who I am. Does that mean that those things don't have value? Well, no, it just means that they're not your flavor. They're not the thing that you want. That doesn't mean they don't have value, or they're not important, or the work isn't important, right? What it means is it's not your flavor. Go find your flavor. It does my head in online when people say mean-spirited things to people. It's like, these people aren't your flavor. Just move on and go find your flavor somewhere. Go find your flavor. You don't need to pull down this person or be rude or disrespectful to this person or be mean-spirited to this person. You can just move along to somebody who is more your flavor. For me personally, I will always try a new flavor, because you don't know unless you try it, right? I'll always have a little spoonful and just test it out and go, is that my flavor? I'm not sure. And if it's not repugnant, if I don't go, that's disgusting, then I'm willing to try it again just to see, does this fit for me or not? And I encourage people to do that. I know, because my work has shown me, that there are women who never ever speak to me, who will come to me, and this has happened to me. It happened to me a few years ago. A woman who I'd never spoken to, that I couldn't remember her name, nothing at all, came to a workshop that I did just to tell me that I saved her life, that she was in a very difficult place and she'd come to a workshop that I was running. She did the workshop and it literally was a pivotal moment in her life. And so for me, that matters. That matters a lot, because there are plenty of people out there right now who are suffering and struggling and who feel challenged and overwhelmed and who do not have someone to turn to. Maybe you can't afford to go to therapy. Maybe you don't have a therapist you like. Maybe you just need community where you feel like you belong. Maybe you just need to listen, or you ask a question, or, whatever it is. It matters. So for me, that is what keeps me going when it's hard, because there are days when also I'm like you and it is challenging and I find it really, really difficult some days, like everybody else. I'm the same as everybody else. You were my pivot. Well, that's really nice, Judy. I appreciate that, sweetie. All right, my loves, I'm going to wrap it up. So this week, hands open, not clenched, hands open. What am I open to? What can I accept? Where can I be courageous? Where do I need to surrender? Remembering that surrender is not allowing people to treat us badly. Surrender is literally not fighting reality anymore. Where can I be vulnerable? All words that are so incredibly important. And I encourage you to think about those words this week. Let me know in the comments how this hits for you. Share this with people. Please do that for me. And I hope wherever you are in the world, whatever is going on for you in the world, that you are able to stop for a second and just remind yourself, I'm in this body, in this moment, in this place, and I'm okay right now. And that is really, really important. I have a video coming out tomorrow, so I do them Tuesdays and Fridays, my time, which is Monday and Thursday for many of you. I also have reels, short videos that come out. As I said, I don't really like doing the shorts very much, but I do them because Miss Carol loves them and several other people really love them too. So I do the shorts. If you see something of mine, anything of mine, and you are happy to, I would really love it if you could hit the like button, the share button, or of course leave a comment, because that's always gold, and it tells the platform that I am on, hey, this information is important, and they will then give that to other people to go and look at, and that helps me help more people, which is what I'm trying to do. Thanks, Debbie. I will let you know how the interviews go. Everyone take care of yourselves. Yeah, absolutely. And let me know how you go. I am absolutely sending you some positive energy, and I'm sure you will do well in your interviews. Just breathe. Let them know you're a little anxious. That's okay. Just breathe and do your very best. That's all you can ask of yourself, right? Just do your best. To everybody else, I will be seeing you soon, no doubt. I'm going to do another one at 11 a.m. on Monday for my American friends. If you are struggling, there's plenty of information on this channel. You go to the top of this page and you will see the playlists. That's where I try and put things in order. I have 2 playlists at the moment. I'm working on more of them. So, give me time. I will get plenty more up. There's a lot of stuff that I'll be doing this year. And the ladies, thank you for showing up for us. You're more than welcome. Thank you for coming, because, I can show up, and if nobody shows up with me, I'm by myself. So thank you for showing up for me, and take care of yourself, Rachel. Understanding that the panic and the anxiety are tricky. You might need to see a GP. Maybe what you need to do is do some work in a group around managing that. DBT can be very, very good for really intense feelings. And yes, she has got this, Judy. Good for you, Sarah. You've got this. You've got this. You've got this. All right, my darlings, take the best care of yourselves. There'll be other lives that are here if you want to have a look at a live. I usually just link those in. And of course, I will see you all really soon. Take care of yourself, everybody. Until next time. Bye.